This video is going to give you 7 great tips for being a new manager. So stick around to the end. There's going to be some great advice to help you hit the ground running in a new role. This is Productivity ACE. Let's get it done. You know the drill. One day you're the lead SME for an application or a business process. Then you go into work one day and boom, you have been promoted. You are now in charge. WTF. And do your company give you any training for this new role? What do you think? Nothing. It took me years of mistakes to learn how to be a manager. I wasn't given any training either. But through trial and error, you gradually learn the skills to be able to succeed as a manager. I'm hoping these 7 tips will give you guys a fast track into the world of management and allow you to hit the ground running with your new team. Okay, tip number 1. Got to accept you're not one of the gang anymore. Much as you'd like to be, you aren't. Your role has completely changed. It doesn't matter how close you were with your team. It doesn't matter how pally or matey you were with them. That's a thing of the past now, and you have to let it go. The sooner you do that, the sooner you'll be able to manage your team properly. You are a boss now, and your role is different. People who used to be your friends are now responsible for delivering for the team, and they're accountable to you. You'll have to ensure that everyone pulls their weight and gets the job done. And if you can decouple the friendship aspect from that, it makes life a lot easier. Okay, the second tip, get researching the subject. This is a new subject, and especially if you didn't get much training from your company, you need to skill up quickly. Luckily, you'll find a ton of learning resources out there on YouTube and blogs and other such platforms. There's a lot of information out there to how to be a great manager and the things that you need to consider. You'll need to get your foundational skills up to speed pretty quickly. And you never know, that might be interesting, that might be actually disappointing. It can actually sometimes make you realize you don't want to be a manager after all. Tip number 3, steal like an expert. If you look around your organization, you'll see a ton of great managers out there. You don't have to be an official mentee or have an official mentoring relationship with anybody. If you do, that's great. What it is a good idea to do is look around for managers that get the job done, or that have a really good reputation, or that get really good feedback, or that inspire, or that have created a fantastically engaging team or service or product. And then watch them. Watch what they do. Watch their mannerisms. Watch their conduct. Watch the content of their emails. Watch how they schedule meetings. If you have a close interaction with them, try and absorb as much as you possibly can. There's a reason that these people have reached a good position in management. So looking around and copying people is a really great way to learn. In time, you'll build your own style, and your style will probably be an amalgamation of several other people's with your own twist thrown in. Tip number 4 for the new manager, develop your emotional intelligence. If you don't know what emotional intelligence is, then I will be doing a post on that at a later date, but there's lots of information out there. A quick Google or YouTube search will find a lot of good stuff about EI and what it's all about. In a nutshell, emotional intelligence refers to awareness. Critically, the awareness of yourself, the awareness of others, and the awareness of the situation that you're in. Once you can have a good idea of self-awareness, situational awareness, and the awareness of others, you'll be able to process and deal with all sorts of different situations in a completely different manner. I think emotional intelligence is one of the foundational skills of a manager, and for anybody who wants to make waves in an organization, and it's something I think that everybody needs to develop. So check out all the great resources on emotional intelligence. There's a lot of really positive stuff out there, and it's a very fascinating subject as well, delving into psychology and the human psyche, as it were. So it's really interesting to study, and a lot of it can be applied outside of work as well, in general relationships. Tip number 5, learn to deal with different levels of performance. Now, as a new manager, you're obviously thinking to yourself, well, what am I going to do when I need to discipline or pick somebody up that's performing particularly poorly? And that is a challenge and needs to be a skill. It's a skill that needs to be learned. You'll also need to deal with employees who show excellent performance. And that's a challenge in itself as well. Excellent performers need rewarding. Excellent performers challenge for promotion. Excellent performers expect their career to move, and they expect you to do it for them. If your excellent performers are getting frustrated, then that's a challenge. If you don't show the appreciation that excellent performers deserve, you can often create a culture of unfairness or perceived unfairness, and you can create a lot more headaches there and lose people that are performing really well. Tip number 6, and this isn't a good one if you're not much of a talker, but you're going to need to start talking. Get scheduling calls, one-to-ones with your team, your direct reports, one-to-ones with your manager if the manager hasn't already scheduled that one-to-one. And I've got a great guide on running effective one-to-one meetings, which is up there somewhere. Have a little look at that video and see what you think. And obviously key clients, key stakeholders that might be interested in the change in organization of your team and your product or service, make sure you're speaking to people. So you spend a lot of time as a manager spinning plates that are relationships, talking to people on calls, in meetings, to the point that you think that maybe you're just a glorified spokesman, but you're not. You as a manager, the role of communication of what your team is doing and how it's performing and its roadmap and strategy is absolutely vital, and it falls to you to deliver that. Tip number 7, and that is show empathy and respect for your team. You have to connect with your team on a human level. That might be difficult, but you need to get to know the person behind the employee. You may already have a good relationship with people and understand them to a very detailed level, but it's also important to understand the minutiae of what makes them tick. For example, you might not be an animal lover, but your employee may not be able to come to work because their dog has just died. You might not be able to understand or comprehend that as much as they can, but it's important that you do. It's important that you empathize, put yourself in their shoes, understand the problems that are unique to them, and connect on that human level. I've seen very, very good managers fail to connect on the human level and therefore fail to empathize with the employee's problems or the problems that your team will experience. And that leads to a disconnect and generally the recipe for disaster. So even if it takes some effort to actually understand what it is the employee is bothered about or how the employee is affected by a certain problem, it's very important to show humility and empathize and try to understand as best you can. Are you a new manager? Let me know down there in the comments. I'm really interested to see how many people here have been thrown into a management role or promoted into a management role. What do you think? How do you feel? Are you scared? Are you looking forward to it? I'm really interested to find out. So leave a comment if you want to. So here's what I need you to do now. I need you to go to work and I need to put those tips into action. Put them into practice. Certainly if you're a brand new manager, start off, put some into play and see how you get on. Let me know in the comments if there's any one of these tips that are working. Or do you have tips yourself that you're putting into play that I should know about, that I can take back and make myself a better manager? Really interested to hear what you're doing. And if you like this video, then do consider subscribing and sharing and liking and all of that great YouTube stuff. It gives me a real warm, fuzzy feeling. We'll be back on this channel pretty soon with some more management productivity style tips. Hope you're enjoying them. Until the next time.